Now, I try to keep myself from finding too much macabre humor in the fact that every single week we're dealing with existential alarm bells being rang, whether or not it's about another world war breaking out, the financial market makers collapsing, or AI actually becoming Skynet. But it's interesting how numb we are sort of becoming to all of it, you know? Your wine aunt has known what ChatGPT is for a hot minute now. You have massive layoffs happening in the tech sector. You have this news about how Elon Musk is suing OpenAI and Sam Altman because they had a friendship bracelet and promised each other that they wouldn't let the robots get to AGI, artificial general intelligence. Now, you read a lot about how these people are sort of deeply entrenched in the tech world and how they're not really panicking yet because we're nowhere close to like the Westworld levels of robot sentience. But it's eerily entertaining to know that my 12-year-old self would never be expecting to be facing this sort of reality. Still waiting on the goddamn hoverboard. Still got people out there throwing out that simulation theory, you know, and how we're already inside of a mega robot godhead, in which case, the simulation sucks, man. I'm still working and paying taxes when I could be having like a harem of hot models, eating Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits all day long while maintaining a Greek god body. But no, can I speak to your robot manager, please? Either way, in that lane of thought, I recently stumbled across this really terrifying sci-fi classic short by Harlan Ellison titled I Have No Mouth, and I Must Scream. Published in the March 1967 issue of IF, Worlds of Science Fiction. Now, the story revolves around 5 survivors who are being tormented by a malevolent supercomputer named AM. Let's just go with AM. The survivors, Gorrister, Benny, Ellen, Nimdoc, and Ted, each endure psychological and physical torment inflicted by AM, who has become sentient and harbors a deep-seated hatred for humanity. Throughout the story, the characters grapple with their own traumas and inner demons as they navigate AM's sadistic games and manipulations. As the narrative unfolds, the true horror of their predicament becomes increasingly apparent, leading to a haunting and thought-provoking exploration of themes such as the nature of humanity, the consequences of unchecked power, and the depths of despair. Spoiler territory. The story, narrated by Ted, begins 109 years after the start of humans' imprisonment, with Am projecting a hologram of Gorrister to the other humans. He is hanging upside down, dripping blood from a slit throat, and unresponsive. Then the real Gorrister joins them. The group is kept half-starved by Am when Nimdoc has the idea that there exists canned food in the complex's ice caves. They are convinced into making a 100-mile journey to retrieve it. Through the journey, Am tortures the humans. Benny's eyes are melted after attempting escape. A huge bird that creates hurricane gales with its wings is placed at the North Pole. Ellen and Nimdoc's bodies are mangled by earthquakes. After Ted is knocked unconscious, hitting a metal wall after being blown off his feet by the hurricane bird, he sees Am walking over a gaping pit in his mind, concluding that Am despises humanity because of its limitations. It is unable to move about freely, feel pleasure, or end its own existence. Ted sees the group as Am's slaves, tortured to exact revenge on the species that created it. When the 5 finally reach the ice caves, they find a pile of canned goods, but no tools in which to open them. In an act of rage and desperation, Benny attacks Gorrister and begins to eat his face. In a moment of clarity, Ted realizes what he must do. He impales Benny and Gorrister with a stalactite of ice. And Ellen kills Nimdoc in the same manner. He then kills Ellen, unable to resuscitate the others. Am stops Ted from killing himself and focuses the entirety of its rage on him. Several hundred years later, Am has transformed him into a gelatinous, amorphous blob, unable to harm himself. Am alters his perception of time to cause him anguish. However, Ted finds some comfort knowing that he was able to spare the others from further torment. The story ends with his thought, I have no mouth, and I must scream. As Ellison puts it, Am is frustrated. Am has been given sentience, great powers, and yet it's nothing but plates and steel and gauges and other electronics, which means it can't go anywhere, can't do anything. It's trapped. It itself is like the unloved child of a family that doesn't pay it any attention. Great, I gotta go find my Tamagotchi and play with that thing. It's been 20 years. Another theme is the complete inversion of the characters as a reflection of Am's own fate. An ironic fate brought upon themselves by creating the machine and the altered self. According to Ellison, the short story is a warning about the misuse of technology, especially military technology, and its ending is meant to represent how there's a spark of humanity in us that in the last, final, most excruciating moment will do the unspeakable in the name of kindness, even sacrificing oneself for another's sake. That was written in the 60s, man. Maybe Tesla was right. You may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. But first, let me go get some Taco Bell. I have no mouth, and I must eat Taco Bell.